What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV, back at it again, my friends, with another banger for y'all on the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up with all the latest and the greatest. Now, before we get into it, just shout out to y'all, the beautiful people, the wonderful people of the internet, showing so much love. Thank you. None of this is possible without y'all. Now, with no further ado, kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Y'all, February 16th, we just got the news. February 16th, 2025, Uconn will travel to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the reigning NCAA champions, y'all. Oh my goodness, we got the mega matchup. People were saying South Carolina had the audacity to say South Carolina was ducking smoke, not trying to play Uconn. Looking at this matchup, we're talking about arguably the two top teams in the nation coming back next season, man. We got the two top high school prospects, Joyce Edwards for South Carolina, who's going to be a bona fide superstar, can play the 1 through 5, generational talent, elite prospect, maybe the best prospect freshman-wise coming in since Asia Wilson. You got Sarah Strong, who could be a program reviving, and I say that with all due respect because I'm not saying the Yukon program was dead. They went to a Final Four, but we're talking about championships. So a program reviving Sarah Strong coming into this contest. Two great freshman classes, but two teams that return a bevy of veteran leadership, man. I mean, you got the superstars, Malaysia Fulwiley and Paige Beckers, arguably the best player in the nation coming back next year, not named Juju Watkins, squaring off. Tessa Johnson is back for this group, Raven Johnson. Like, looking at the backcourt, these backcourts matchups is going to be insane. I mean, we mentioned Fulwiley, we mentioned Johnson, we mentioned Raven Johnson, we mentioned Tina Powell's coming back for this group. Arguably the best backcourt in the entire nation, hands down. This backcourt is loaded, and that's not even mentioning freshman Maddie McDaniel as well. Breezy Hall coming back for this group. They're going to be stacked, and with Edwards, I think it gives them another weapon that they didn't have last year, a big wing who can guard players like Juju Watkins and Layla Filia on this perimeter, man. These big guards, these big wings that are skilled. Joyce Edwards is, got the capability, the athletic ability, the tenacity, the length to lock all that up. But on the other side, guys, Uconn, you bring back Ashlyn Shade and KK Arnold, who were two freshmen last year that were forced to grow up extremely fast due to a variety of injuries on this roster that really derailed Uconn's season. I felt like they were South Carolina's biggest threat last year. They should have been the number 2 team in the nation, and we just didn't get a full-strength matchup with these two teams. This is later in the year, so I really hope we get to see both teams at full strength because Uconn returns a mob as well, led by AZ Fudd as well as Paige Beckers. We haven't seen these two healthy in the backcourt in quite some time, but when they are, you're talking about two of the most dynamic scorers and playmakers in all of college basketball. You bring back Aubrey Griffin, Cadence Samuels, adding depth. Ali Zabel, a 5-star point guard coming in, adding depth, a good leader, can shoot the cover off the basketball, good passer, can really run the show, more of the future. Caitlin Chen could be the X factor for this group. A 4-year starter, reigning Ivy League Player of the Year, comes in to immediately fill that huge void led by Nika Mule at the point guard position. Someone that will come in and defend, someone who will initiate the offense, get it going and make things easier on Beckers and all these other scorers in this lineup. Then, you mentioned that her leadership, she's been here, she's played in multiple tournaments, and her guidance in the locker room. She was a must-get recruit for Uconn, man. But then, you mentioned the freshman Shade and Arnold who had to grow up quickly. Fudd's coming back. I'm excited to see Sarah Strong. The front court, I think, will be much improved. In the backcourt, though, man, looking at it, I gotta give the edge to South Carolina. I think they just have a better variety of guards who are used to each other, who have played with each other, who know each other, have built that chemistry. And, we saw them dominate last year, and it was a situation where it could be anybody's game. I'm looking at Malaysia Fulwali to be a potential game changer and take over this contest. In the front court, it's a slight edge in the backcourt, and that could change. That definitely could change. We got to see. Uconn on paper looks sensational, but we got to see how all these guards mesh together. And the freshmen. I'm excited to see Morgan Shelley as well, who could be an X factor. I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I thought that she could really be one of the breakout players for this group with her size, her capability to shoot the basketball, score it from all three levels, operate smoothly in the pick and roll. So these freshmen, Uconn more so freshmen, could be big X factors in this game too. But looking at the front court on South Carolina, goodness gracious, I mean, you got a mob. You know what I'm saying? They bring in Miriam Dowda, who can really stretch the floor big. They got Ashlyn Watkins coming back. So they have bodies to replace, top 5 pick Camila Cardoso, who led this team in scoring and rebounding last year. But you bring in Chloe Kitts, who's looked sensational in the offseason, adding muscle, working on the handle. We could see her at some 3 if they decide to go big. And, you know what I'm saying, maybe they put 2 centers out there and have Chloe Kitts down there at the 3, man. Maybe you go Watkins and Sanaya Fagan, who I think will also be a major contributor for them this upcoming season. We saw how she filled in, her and Watkins filled in for Camila Cardoso. Fagan, a big body, super skilled, and very experienced, has been around this program for quite some time, so you know what you're getting. But this South Carolina front court is insane. And they get Adele Tack, who a lot of people are excited about. It's kind of that situation with Jana Alfie that Uconn had, where it's a highly touted freshman that just wasn't healthy and hasn't really gotten a chance to get any experience. But Uconn, they played very small last year. If this was last year, the edge would easily go to South Carolina. They had Paige Beckers at the 4 last season. But with El Alfie, with Sarah Strong now being able to play that 4, with Ice Brady as well in there, UConn's front court will be a lot more formidable. I don't think I can give them the edge over South Carolina, though, just because of the size, the depth. I mean, adding Dowda was a game changer. Now you could potentially see her and Kitts on the floor, where it's South Carolina goes from not being able to shoot threes 2 years ago to having 5 players on the floor at once that could shoot the 3. That is scary. You got 2 of the game's best coaches, man. Geno Auriemma, the old guard, Uconn was the blueprint. Now you have the new kids, Don Staley setting the tone, becoming one of the faces in the NCAA basketball. And now South Carolina is that blueprint. We've seen these teams battle on the recruitment trail. We've seen them battle on the court before, and now we're getting another dose. I just really hope both teams are healthy, man. But this is great for the game. I love that these mega matchups are happening. The NCAA is doing their due diligence. This is going to be a physical game. It's going to be hard fought. It's going to come down to which players can really come down and make plays at late in the game, because this is there's no coaching edge here. This is going to be a great coaching match. I give South Carolina the edge on the glass, and just because of the depth and the size that they possess. But Uconn has a deep roster, man, and I don't think we got to see the best of them last year. So hopefully this year we lock in and we get to see a full-strength Uconn team terrorize the NCAA. But they are loaded, and I think they are the biggest challenge to South Carolina. I know Southern California, USC is going to be in the run, and Notre Dame, Texas is going to have something to say about it. Like, there's a lot of talent. UCLA is definitely going to have something to say about it. But in my opinion, I think these 2 are the top teams in the entire nation, at least on paper. And we get to see them square off. I'm so excited. Y'all got to let me know y'all's predictions and how y'all are feeling about these 2 teams matching up, because it's going to be a show. And I think, we have 2 contrasting styles, but both of them can play fast. Both of them can play in the front court. Both of them like to score the basketball, share the basketball. Last season, it was a lot on Aaliyah Edwards and Paige Beckers, and they had a supporting cast. This season, it should be a very well-balanced Uconn team, to where if you try to take Paige Beckers out of her momentum, out of her rhythm, she will have plenty of weapons around her. I'm excited to see how Cadence Samuels bounces back, how Aubrey Griffin bounces back. Aubrey Griffin was having a tremendous season. She was going on a really good run, 5-6 games. They could not keep her out the paint. Her athletic ability as well, as 6'1", being able to cover multiple spots, and just being able to be that slasher to keep defenses on their toes and penetrate, that was a big loss. I'm excited to see how she bounces back. AZ, I'm excited to see how she bounces back. One of the purest scores in the entire nation when she is healthy. She was healthy 2 years ago, battled an injury this year. So it'll be interesting to see how all these players for Uconn bounce back from injury and gel with this new nucleus, man, because we haven't seen them play with KK Arnold or Ashlyn Shade like that. And then they got Chelly Zabel and Sarah Strong, who are going to be looking to get acclimated as well. Sarah Strong really could end up being the X factor at the 4 with her ability to be able to play make. They can run the offense through her. She can score it from deep. She can bring the ball up the court. She's a monster on the glass, big body, physical down low. She definitely could give those South Carolina bigs some issues. Definitely, and that'll be right, like, a month before the tournament where she's had a lot of games under her belt, so these freshmen will have had time to grow up. So I'm excited to see Joyce Edwards and Sarah Strong go at it again, but Sarah Strong bringing a skill set to the 4 that Uconn did not possess last year, straight up. So I'm excited, man. Y'all let me know y'all's predictions and what y'all are expecting. I think both these teams definitely will be competing for a national title, and we could end up seeing a rematch of this game after February in the Natty. You know what I'm saying? But y'all let me know. I'm stoked. Big news there for women's college hoops. That is a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, we out.